Hey, yo, what's good, fellas? It's your boy here, and we're back for another builds video for Fire Emblem Heroes, and this time we're going to talk about Lamia, who is our recent GHB. We just got her today, and she's pretty cool, honestly. Like, the artwork is pretty rad. Definitely love it when they give us these baddies for the GHBs. Always fun times, and her artwork is nice, so I think some people may be interested in wanting to build her just for that. But as far as how good she is and whether or not she's going to be meta relevant, I don't think so. I'm just going to give you guys the TLDR right now. She's probably not worth building. But if she's your cup of tea and you're just playing for fun and you just want to build her because of looks, then let's go ahead and dive right in. So starting off with her stat line, we've got 45 HP. We got 45 attack, we got 48 speed with a super boon, 39 defense, and then 26 res, and her overall BST is 203. As far as arena scoring is concerned, she's going to score tie with the Gladiator Ogma that we got earlier as a Tempest Trial prize unit. So 86 is the scoring bin overall for Ogma, and if we take a look at some other contemporary free-to-play score bots, Marnie is a whole bin ahead of that at 87, and then Raphael is a whole bin ahead of that even further at 88. So you can already see, as far as scoring is concerned, if you're trying to min-max on scoring, then Lamia is not really going to help you out in that regard. But she is still pretty fun. These God Sword units are always just fun. So let's go ahead and take a look at her kit now. So she has this weapon here, Forged Sword Plus. At start of player phase or enemy phase, grants attack and defense up 6 to unit and allies in 3 spaces, and then grants all stats of 5 to unit. Unit deals plus X damage, excluding on AoEs, and reduce damage from foes' attacks by half of X during combat, excluding on AoEs, where X is the highest total bonuses among unit and allies in 3 spaces of unit. So let's just assume plus 6 to all stats, which is very typical. You could get higher, of course, if you're using a unit like Duo Marth, who gives plus 7. But just for argument's sake, let's say you've got plus 6 to all stats. That would be a total of 24. And then that would mean you're doing 24 extra points of true damage per attack. And then you get 12 points of true DR in combat. So statistically, and in terms of DR and true damage, it's actually not that bad of a weapon. But the main effect that we've got here is kind of booty. Just giving attack and defense up 6 as a blue buff to allies in 3 spaces. Complete nothing burger. Compared to some of the other weapons that we've got access to, like Arena Sword, which is doing speed and defense shackle, and then doing speed and defense debuffs on the enemies, which is really good. Arcane Renegade, which is giving a little bonus to your allies in 3 spaces. They get attack and speed up 5, and then 7 recovery when dealing damage, which is nice. And then, of course, it's also got the -1 cooldown and the further -1 before combat. If you've got a AoE special, or if you're doing a special, any special really, it just cools you down by 1. So that's good. And then even Serving Knife gives you a bonus action when popping an assist, and then you're giving support, you give Incited and Special Cooldown Charge +1 to allies. And then it's also got a pretty chunkable amount of bonus damage as well there. Based on the amount of bonuses you've got, it's ×5 for that. So potential +25 true damage out of this weapon, which is good. The only issue with Serving Knife is it doesn't have DR like Arcane Renegade and the Arena Sword do. But it does make up for it in other areas. So there we go. Those cover the weapon possibilities for Lamia. And then I just wanted to quickly show off how she compares to Ogma, who is another God Sword option that you could build free to play. So both of them get the same amount of Dragon Flowers. Lamia's got a lot more HP. She has 4 more points. That might be relevant if you're going to run her for Aetherraid's offense or something, where you need her to beat the Hex Trap. But I don't really think you'd be running Lamia as your first option for Aetherraid's offense. So probably not really going to come in too much handy there. As far as attack is concerned, Ogma does beat her by 3 points naturally, and then he also has a super boon on attack, whereas Lamia does not. So he's essentially 4 points of attack higher than Lamia. She has more speed by a little bit. She has 2 more points, or yeah, she has 2 more in total, 1 more naturally, and then an extra point because she's got a speed super boon and Ogma doesn't. So 2 more points of speed there. And then this is where it's kind of a wash. Ogma just has so much more defense. He's got 6 more points of defense. So that's kind of an RIP for Lamia, which is weird too, because the weapon they gave her is Forged Sword. It's giving attack and defense bonuses. You would think she'd have a little better defense than that, but she doesn't. And then as far as res goes, she's got 3 more points than Ogma, but honestly, for these types of units, res could be a total dump stat just to give more points to attack, speed, and defense, and we'd be Gucci. So yeah, her stat spread isn't even as good as Ogma. I would honestly rather build this Ogma. I think he works out a little bit better. Although, if you're going to build him, that means less copies of Arena Sword that are going to come for you, because you're going to have to spend more Heroic Grails to get more copies of Arena Sword if you wanted to do that. And Arena Sword is a really good weapon. So, yeah, it's a lot of micromanaging you got to think about, but there we go for all of that. And then finally, let's go ahead and take a look at the builds now for Lamia. So I wanted to try showing off builds for all 3 of the potential weapons I think are good. Arena Sword, Arcane Renegade, and Serving Knife. So we'll start with Arcane Renegade, and I think this is overall probably the most ideal build. It's like the overall build. Like if you just need a general purpose build, this would be the one to go for. So Arcane Renegade, of course, great weapon. Arc Rival as the special, which the other 2 options are Comet and Shatter Slash, and I think in a bubble, Arc Rival is probably slightly better. It depends, of course, on whether or not you're going to get color advantage, because if you don't, then Arc Rival is not going to be as good as the other 2. But assuming you are getting color advantage, then Arc Rival is just better. She has a lot of options for the Emblem Ring. All of these melee units are just really well off when it comes to rings. You go for Erica Ring to get Brave Attacking. You can go for Micaiah Ring to get a bonus action off your assist. The Corin Ring is just good on anybody. Byleth Ring could be nice if you're going to run a weapon like Serving Knife to get the extra action, and then you can be a dancer. Edelgard Ring is just a free Gale Force. Marth Ring is another -1 if you need it, but honestly, I don't really think she needs it. So I would probably stay away from Marth Ring. Celica Ring is nice just to get extra movement, like you can warp in. It gives her a little bit better reach than having +1 movement from stuff like Tumultuous Echo or Sigurd Ring. So the Celica Ring is a pretty decent option. Obviously, Sigurd Ring is good. I wouldn't recommend Sigurd Ring over Tumultuous Echo, though, which is very easy to get, and then it just frees up the ring slot. And then finally, Lucina Ring if you want to outsource some DR to your allies. So, yeah, just basically every ring is viable on her. Just comes down to what you want to go for. Duelist Blow is basically the best A skill. Like, let's not even beat around the bush. It's between that and Distant Bonus Amp, which Distant Counter is now outsourceable by a lot of different ways. You could either get it from the Sacred Seal, you could get it from the Echo skill, you could get it from a drive from Valley, or get it as a start-a-turn bonus from Ike. So, honestly, I'm just done with the Distant Counter skills, unless the unit really has no other options. So, Duelist Blow is definitely the way. Pair Up 4, I would say, is the overall best B skill. You got to be in 3 spaces of an ally, so that's a little annoying. But if you meet the condition, then it's basically the best B skill. And then Instruct 4, which, honestly, I think Instruct is the best C skill, too. So, a lot of these are just the best in slot overall options. And then Squad A CW3 is the one that gives HP up 6 and then attack and speed up 4. So giving the visible stats like that makes Instruct a little better and gives it a better chance to give the great talent buffs to your allies. So that's the main reason why Squad A CW3. There are, of course, other options you could try out, like Potent is an example. If you're going to run Potent, though, you don't want Erica Ring, because if you can Brave Attack with Potent, it does less damage on the Potent hit. So you'd rather just swap out Erica Ring for like Edelgard Ring or something. So yeah, overall, I would say this is the way. And then Tumultuous Echo is basically the best in slot Echo overall. All right, here's an AoE build. One of the good things about Arcane Renegade is that it scales some true damage off the AoE. So running an AoE special makes a lot of sense. And this is just AoE maxing, basically. Sigurd Ring is the only ring that gives bonus damage on the AoE. So that's why we go for that. And then double up on Momentum 4, so you get the instant cooldown charge for sure. It doesn't matter how much they're trying to scowl you out of it. It's just not going to work. So with momentum on the Echo and the B skill, we're getting a lot there. And then momentum obviously gives you a lot of true damage based on the amount of spaces moved. You can make this even more nasty if you have a way for her to move a lot of spaces, like more than just 4 with the Sigurd Ring, or 3 with the Sigurd Ring. So ways you could do that is with Baby Tana, like have her attack and then let people warp to her. She's going to be able to get like 5 movement easily like that. So yeah, just even more piling up damage on the AoE if you do that. And then momentum, or not momentum, instruct once again, because you're getting visible stats with that with Great Talent, and visible stats is exactly what you want with a Blazing Special. So it seems pretty cut and dry what option to go for there. And again, CW3 for the seal. You could go for life and death, but it's only 1 more point of attack and speed, and then it tanks your defenses while CW3 gives you more HP and doesn't do anything to the defenses. So I would just rather go for that one, honestly. All right, next build, we're taking a look at Serving Knife. So obviously this build you want to go for support with, because you get the bonus action off your assist, and that means stuff like Favor is going to work out really good. Otherwise, it's basically the same exact shit we've been looking at the whole time. Like I said, Duelist Blow and Instruct are really hard to compete with. The only way you would beat Instruct in the C skill is if you're going to run one of the Tempest C skills, and the fact that you could just easily get Tumultuous Echo means it just frees up your C skill for something better. So, yeah, that's pretty much the reason why we're doing it like this. And then one final build to show off with Arena Sword. It's not that different. Honestly, it's basically the same build as the Serving Knife build, but there are a couple of differences. This time we get to run Shatter Slash instead of Arc Rival, because Arena Sword is already doing debuffs on the enemies. Shatter Slash does a further debuff on the enemy's attack and defense based on any debuffs they already have. And Arena Sword does a debuff on defense. So you can just get a little bit extra damage with that. And also Shatter Slash gives you, I think it's 80% of either your speed or defense as true damage, which is nice. And it's a little easier on the cooldown. It's only a 4-hit special, while Arc Rival is a 5-hit. So if you're not going to have color advantage, Shatter Slash is probably just better. But you never really know. It's really situational as to which of these is going to be better. And the other advantages here, so running the Arena Sword is just a better weapon in combat, because it also has true damage and true DR, whereas Serving Knife only has true damage. But over here, we get to run the Edelgard ring instead of the Micaiah ring. So you can get a Gale Force there, as opposed to getting a free action off your assist. So it really just comes down to preference as to which one of these two you like better. They're both pretty good, and they both pretty much do the exact same thing. So yeah, like this is what I was getting at earlier when I was saying all of these weapons are kind of viable, and it's a lot of the reasons is for the same exact purposes. So yeah, it really just comes down to preference. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section down below. But there you guys go for some builds for Lamia, who we just got today. Pretty cool unit, but I don't think she's worth it. I don't think she's worth the investment unless you really like her. So this is your boy Tacho signing out. Hope y'all enjoyed it, and I will catch y'all again on the flip side.